Story 1: The Locker Room Lights. The 2025 Stanley Cup Finals were electrifying, with arenas packed and millions watching worldwide. But for the team staff who worked behind the scenes, the nights were long and the arenas never truly slept. Tyler, an equipment manager, stayed late one evening to pack gear after Game 3. The building was nearly empty, echoing with silence when he noticed something strange. The locker room lights began flickering. First he thought it was just faulty wiring, but the flickering formed a pattern: 3 flashes, pause, 3 flashes, pause, Morse code. No one else was around, and the switches were across the room. The air grew colder, and the sound of skates scraping across the floor echoed through the hall. He turned and saw faint figures in full gear standing in the doorway, their helmets fogged, their jerseys stained. At first he thought players had returned, but when one removed his helmet, Tyler saw half his face burned away, eyes hollow. The others followed, their bodies twisted, broken, like old injuries never healed. They moved silently, pointing at the Stanley Cup sitting in its protective case nearby. Tyler fled, leaving everything behind. Later, security footage confirmed the lights flickered, but no figures were visible. Still, Tyler quit his job after that night. He swore the spirits of fallen players and forgotten teams lingered in the shadows of the championship, forever tied to the cup they never touched. Story 2: The Trophy Curse. Hockey has always carried superstitions, especially about the Stanley Cup. Players are warned never to touch it until they've earned the right. But in 2025, a rookie named Alex ignored the rule. During a press event, he sneaked into the room where the cup was kept, running his fingers along its silver surface. It was a harmless act, he thought. That night, Alex dreamed of skating on an endless sheet of ice, surrounded by shadows. A voice whispered from the dark, "You touched what wasn't yours." He woke drenched in sweat. Over the following weeks, his luck spiraled downward. He suffered an injury during practice, then another during recovery. Doctors couldn't explain why his bones fractured so easily. Teammates avoided him, calling him cursed. When the finals began, Alex was sidelined, forced to watch. On the night his team lifted the cup, Alex vanished. His hotel room was found trashed, windows wide open despite the freezing wind. The only thing left behind was a single photo printed on his nightstand. Alex standing in the arena, his hand reaching out to touch the Stanley Cup. Behind him in the photo, a blurred, shadowy figure seemed to be gripping his shoulder tightly. To this day, no one knows what happened to him. Some say he ran away in shame. Others whispered the cup claimed him for breaking its sacred rule. Story 3: The Empty Arena. Game 7 of the 2025 Stanley Cup Finals ended in chaos. Fans celebrated, confetti rained, and players cried tears of joy. Hours later, when the noise died down and the arena emptied, a janitor named Luis began his shift. He was used to silence, but that night the air felt heavier, charged with leftover energy. As he swept the stands, he heard chanting. Low at first, then louder, like a crowd roaring after a goal. He looked down to the ice and froze. Ghostly figures filled the seatsmen in outdated jerseys, some wearing skates, others holding old wooden sticks. They weren't cheering, they were screaming. The sound rattled the arena as the figures banged on the boards, demanding attention. On the ice, Louis saw a game playing out. 2 full teams, spectral players skating at impossible speeds, slamming into each other with bone-crushing hits. He watched in terror as one player collapsed, blood spreading across the ice, the others circling like vultures. Then, in unison, the crowd turned their hollow eyes toward Luis. He dropped his broom and ran, never looking back. Security later found him trembling in the parking lot, muttering about a game that never ends. The next night, the arena cameras picked up faint shadows skating across the ice long after everyone had gone home. To this day, workers refuse to stay alone in the building after midnight. They say the Stanley Cup doesn't just crown champions, it feeds on the energy of every battle, every broken bone, every drop of blood spilled in pursuit of glory.